Welcome to this video coverage of round 9 of the candidates tournament in Khanty-Mansisk. This video is about the game Andreikin with white, playing Peter Svidler as black. Yeah, both players before this round are on -1. Doesn't sound too thrilling, and it actually really isn't for both players. Andreikin was on -2 even in this tournament, but scored a win over Topalov to make it a little bit better looking. While Svidler had an up and down tournament, he was on a plus score, almost winning against Kramnik, close to +2, then back. Yeah, and he lost quite disappointingly yesterday against Karjakin, so he's now on -1 and also, just like Andreikin, basically out of it. Very difficult to imagine those two players like winning 4 in a row and contest first place still. Let's see what happened in this game nevertheless. It is an open Sicilian, so Svidler gets to play the Najdorf, one of his main openings against 1e4. He's also playing classically e5, double king pawn, but his main opening really is the Najdorf. And Andreikin plays h3. This funny little move sets to become the main line of the Najdorf. Yeah, probably if you would tell this the late inventor of this opening, Don Miguel Najdorf, you would probably have a good laugh at it. That h3 should endanger his opening. Yeah, I'm just joking a bit here. It's in fact quite an interesting move to play, but it also shows in a way that yeah, lots of the main options over the years, like bishop to e3 and bishop c4, bishop g5, all those sharp moves, they really have been played so much that people long for new ideas and sidelines, and h3 is one of those lines that have been neglected, and it is interesting. g4 is the idea, of course, and it sometimes prepares bishop e3, just in another way compared to f3. Yeah, Svidler is playing e5, the most Najdorf-like move actually. And if you would ask me what should I play against h3, I would also recommend to go e5. If you play e5 against bishop e2 and bishop e3, for instance, then there's no big reason not to play it here. There is just one point that black needs to be aware of. Knight b3 is Andreikin's move here. There is also knight d2 e2, which is arguably even the more popular move, and the idea is to go g4, knight g3, and possibly g5 f4 later. And here I actually like the idea to play h5 to simply prevent this g4 move, and this leads to an interesting complex position that has been debated on top level recently. But Andreikin played on knight to b3. Svidler now bishop e6. Yeah, the typical square for this bishop. And it also might prepare the move d6, d5. Yeah, in this position now Andreikin played g4. It turns out, I had a look at the games that have been played before. It turns out that this is actually not a very popular option here, g4. More popular are bishop e3 and also f4. Bishop e3, for example, has 1 point. It makes d6, d5 relatively unattractive. This kind of position is quite good for white. With long castles, it's very nicely developed, and black has spent lots of time. Yeah, black of course does no need to play d5. He can play other moves, just bishop e7 and castles, for instance, and then it's just an interesting fight as usual in the Najdorf. There's also the move f4 that has been played, for example, by Alexander Grishuk only last year against one of Anand's seconds, Ladislav Wojtaszek, a top Polish player. f4, b5, f5, bishop c8 was the funny the funny moves that was played in Grishuk, Wojtaszek, and Grishuk had an interesting position. Yeah, why is g4 not so popular? Well, we actually get to see it in the game, as Svidler just plays d5, and here it's an entirely different story compared to bishop e3, because g4 is just a move that does not fit too well in this position. If you look at ed5, which is normal looking, something like that, that's already a bit strange. So you shouldn't take on d5. Yeah, but what should white do? Yeah, well, bishop d2 probably, but after a simple move like just knight c6, for instance, isn't black just better here? Yeah, in fact, I do believe that black already has a very comfortable position. What exactly is g4 doing here besides weakening f4? Black has an easy development. He can put out this bishop, maybe queen here, castles, and put rooks on c and d file. It's very simple play, and white is, it's not so clear what white is doing really. Black also has this extra pawn in the center. Yeah, this is not really great, and probably why Andreikin in this position played the move g5 after some thought. Yeah, well, Svidler needs to take. What else is there? Takes on e4. Yeah, and we get to this position where white has sacrificed a pawn for the moment. But, well, you can check that e4 is simply lost. Black needs to return the pawn. So we get to this position very, very logically. And, yeah, well, how to assess that? Yeah, the only question here in my mind is that sorry, if is this just equal, or is Black playing for something here? He simply has a somewhat neater pawn structure, as this g5 and h3 moves are more weakening than space gaining. This is a key point. If white should take, there is g6, very typical move, and only then the recapture, with black having a very nice pawn structure. So white is of course not taking. He played h4, and now we had this rooks traded. Yeah, it seems that the only question is this so vulnerable that black can actually play for an advantage, or is this just equal? Yeah, Andreikin played it precisely, I believe. Bishop e7, castles long, and now bishop e3. This bishop is just covering those two pawns, and also ready to possibly prepare a knight jump to c5. Yeah, this whole opening result is not very convincing for white, and Andreikin has played some really yeah, I don't know how to call it. Yeah, he has made some opening decisions that are really surprising, like when he yesterday got the basic position of the Chevanenko Slav. Kramnik played his normal line, and then he took 20 minutes to answer that. And here he played a line that pretty easily, like here, leads to an equal position. I mean, maybe he wasn't so ambitious in this game, you never know, but still it feels like black is just completely fine in this type of structure. Yeah, well, here, bishop e3. Svidler plays rook h4, activating the rook. An important move. Oops, no, not like that. These two squares, especially c5, can be crucial with a knight possibly dropping there. We can check also here what would have happened if white plays knight c5 here. Black actually has a strong move, bishop g4, and this is attacked and needs to go to a square where you don't really want to go, like here. Oh, black can just drop back. This knight is not doing so much here. Yeah, bishop g2 as mentioned, b6 and a5. Black is controlling those important squares and is just generally being solid. Yeah, there is really not much of an idea for white here, to be honest. He can and he does in the game improve the b3 knight. It's now a really stupid looking piece, only covering squares that the opponent controls. So he brought this over. Here, yeah, well, black also could have taken, which is also very much equal. We played rook g4. Now we see a position where e5 hangs, and we have a sort of a repetition, which come on, here Andreikin actually played rook g1, and after the capture they agreed to a draw. Yeah, in this tournament there is the rule that you need to play 30 moves before you can agree to a draw, and exactly that we have here. Yeah, there is simply not much happening in this position. If anybody, then maybe black can try, but it's a very equal position. I mean, the idea that I had is for black would be knight to e6, bishop e7, and try to grab the pawn. But this is far from being forced, of course. White has many opportunities. Can put a bishop here, and knight to f3 to activate. It is, after all, relatively drawish. And yeah, not very exciting, this game, admittedly. But we have played a number of rounds already, and it's simply the case that only first place counts here. And this is maybe a slight problem with this format if you have games that feature two players from the bottom of the table. Of course, it's also sometimes yeah, a matter of concrete preparation. I'm not sure that Andreikin really willingly thought, okay, let's just draw the game and get it over with. It's maybe the case that he had thought of g4 earlier, and had underestimated or or just wrongly remembered about d5, and relatively quickly, if you look at it, you see that it's not really leading too much. But you see that this he played quickly. Maybe he had confused a move order or something, and then we simply have this not too exciting game. All right, I hope you still enjoyed some information about the opening. The middle game and so on was pretty much very straightforward, and not much to explain about. All right, thanks for watching.